Wabigoon Lake becomes the latest northwestern Ontario community to say yes to a nuclear waste site. Good evening and thank you for joining us. The region is one step closer to potentially hosting a deep geological repository which will store Canada's nuclear waste.
Wabigoon Lake Ojibwe Nation has declared itself willing in a month-long referendum that wrapped up on Saturday. Justin Hardy has been following the process regarding the Ignace site and joins us in studio. And Justin, where does this leave us in the selection process?
Riley, we're closer than we've ever been, but not quite there. Ignace, South Bruce, and Wabigoon Lake have now given the green light, but Saugeen Ojibwe Nation, located near South Bruce, still needs to decide one way or the other. The NWMO says they continue to wait on that community as part of the selection process, and there's no indication yet on exactly when the final location will be chosen. Wabigoon's decision came on November 16th, following over a decade of discussion and information sharing between NWMO and the First Nation. Wabigoon Lake Ojibwe Nation is the third community to declare itself willing to host the Deep Geological Repository for Canada's nuclear waste. No one from the community was available for interview, but Chief Clayton Wittalainen has confirmed that the percentage of votes in favor were even higher than the nearly 78% of Ignace voters earlier this year. Vince Ponca, Regional Communications Manager for NWMO, says the First Nation really put in the effort to get to this point.
The community of Wabigoon Lake Ojibwe Nation and the leadership spent more than 10 years learning all about this project. And so we're very happy that they did indeed come forward with this result after doing the work to learn everything they could.
Wabigoon Lake's decision follows the Township of Ignace's decision in July to proceed as a possible host municipality for the repository for spent fuel from Canada's nuclear power plants. Saugeen Ojibwe Nation still needs to decide if it will join South Bruce in declaring itself willing for the southern site. Even though both northern communities are willing doesn't mean Ignace will automatically be selected. Ponca says there's still a lot of work to be done.
Discussions are still ongoing, and I think there's a lot of positivity right now. And right now, for today, I think it's really just important to acknowledge the hard work Wabigoon Lake Ojibwe Nation has done to reach this historic decision, and really the hard work they put in to be sure that they are making the right choice for their community.
Township of Ignace leadership congratulated Wabigoon Lake in a statement released following the decision, saying, "The Wabigoon Lake Ojibwe Nation's choice to proceed with the project is a powerful statement of self-determination and sovereignty. We offer our full respect and support as a township as they continue to navigate this important process, and we remain committed to standing with them every step of the way towards the delivery of a successful outcome for both our communities and people." The NWMO had originally planned to choose a preferred site by the end of 2024, but with Saugeen still waiting to vote, it's becoming more and more likely that the site decision will be made in early 2025. Justin Hardy, TBT News.
One of the largest mines in the region has been sold. Musselwhite Mine was among 6 global mining operations divested by Newmont Mining. The new owner is Vancouver-based Orla Mining.
Well, we've been looking for the right mine to add to Orla's portfolio for some time, and particularly we're looking for a producing mine of high quality that had mine life left that we could extend to. So Musselwhite checked all those boxes.
Musselwhite Mine was sold for $810 million, plus an additional $40 million over the next 2 years if gold prices hit certain levels. Orla CEO Jason Simpson calls Musselwhite a high-quality operation with a tremendous culture among its 600 employees. He says they have big plans for the mine's future. Musselwhite currently has enough proven ounces of gold for another 7 years of mining. Simpson says their geologists believe there's enough unproven deposits to at least double that lifespan and potentially expand the workforce there.
There are no job losses as a result of this transaction. We need and have met a number of the good employees that have been running that site. And our intention would be to continue have them running that site and to simply support them, obviously through investment, but also some of our capabilities technically to extend that mine life and potentially expand the site.
Thunder Bay Rainy River MP Marcus Pulowski says he won't support federal funding for a proposed temporary homeless village as long as it's located in Thunder Bay's South Core.
Pulowski insists there are much better locations in the city. Jonathan Wilson explains.
There are a number of other sites around the city which I think would be better suited. And if worse came to worse, buy some more property.
Thunder Bay Rainy River MP Marcus Pawlowski says he does agree with the need for a temporary homeless village, but he has serious reservations when it comes to the two proposed sites in the south end of Thunder Bay. The Miles Street and Cam River Park sites are both located in and around the downtown south core. Pawlowski says he doesn't agree with either location, and he'd prefer to see it set up somewhere in the intercity area.
When deciding where to put it, it is a difficult decision. There's obviously going to always be competing interests, but I think the city, in my opinion, didn't give adequate recognition to the interests of the downtown core on the south side, the old Fort William, both to businesses and people who live near there.
Pawlowski feels the city is asking residents and businesses in the area to bear the brunt of the downsides of locating the temporary housing in either location. Because of that, he's not in favor of the project as is, and he will not support it.
And I have told the ministry that I don't support putting federal money into those sites. I mean, if there's no federal money, I don't have much control over it. But if there's federal money, I'm the democratically elected member of parliament for Thunder Bay, Rainy River, the downtown south core. And I do not agree with that, and I would not agree for the federal government putting money into it.
Thunder Bay's other Liberal MP, Patty Haidu, would not respond directly to Pawlowski's comments, but she believes the city has been doing the work to make sure that the temporary housing is set up with involvement and input from residents.
You know, as the Member of Parliament, I see my role as advocating for the community that I live in. And the community is doing a lot of work to make sure that this is set up for success. There have been community consultations. The community, the leaders of the Corporation of the City of Thunder Bay are holding consultations with citizens. They're looking at a number of different sites. And when they decide exactly how to proceed, my job is to make sure that if there's available money federally, that Thunder Bay gets its portion.
City staff and City Council are still looking at both potential sites. There's currently no time frame for when a final decision on the location will be made. Jonathan Wilson, TBT News.
Thunder Bay's Waterfront Development Committee is asking for $150,000 to advance initiatives in its actions plan. That discussion is happening tonight at City Council. The committee's 2024 to 2026 action plan was developed to make Marina Park a more attractive and vibrant destination and includes continued development of the Waterfront Trail. The committee is asking for the $150,000 be added to the proposed 2025 budget. If that's approved, the budget would still meet Council's threshold of a 3.8% tax levy increase.
MPPs returned to Queen's Park today after a constituency week, and there were a number of items on the agenda.
CTV's Siobhan Morris tells us what tops the list for debate in the legislature.
3 months after announcing the policy change,
this legislation would help protect children.
The government has tabled a bill that includes banning supervised consumption sites within 200 meters of a school or daycare, a restriction that would close 10 of 17 centers.
When I hear firsthand stories of parents who have had to protect their children, who stop taking their kids to a daycare or a park because there is open drug use, then that's when I'm going to act.
But for some neighbors of the site set to close by the end of March, this bill does anything but create calm.
I'm petrified of the ways that closing safe consumption sites are going to make my community and my young daughter radically unsafe.
Worried about overdoses and deaths out in the open.
What a disaster this is going to be, what a disaster it already is.
The government is spending $378 million on what it's dubbed heart hubs with a focus on treatment. The Minister of Health dismissing advice she reportedly received that warned overdose deaths will rise.
We see people who desperately need a pathway out of addictions. And our Heart Hub models are going to ensure that there are opportunities for people to actually break that cycle of addiction.
Advocates are skeptical of the Heart Hub approach.
Closing the sites will kill people, and so I don't understand how we get people to any supports if they're dead.
With no opportunity for a place that offers clean needles and medical supervision of those doing drugs, a chance to open in a new location.
There will be no further safe injection sites in the province of Ontario under our government.
A hardline advocates warn will overwhelm emergency responders.
Every municipality in this province better get an emergency plan in place because people are going to be overdosing and dying outside.
And that was CTV's Siobhan Morris reporting. A section of Heron Avenue near Balsam Street was closed to traffic for the majority of the day after 2 utility poles were damaged near a construction area. The incident occurred mid to late morning near the corner of Huron and Hudson Avenues. That's the site where 2 apartment buildings are being built for Ontario Aboriginal Housing Services. Few details are available about what happened, but a TBT spokesperson said no outages were reported and their crews were on site to repair the poles and the attached lines. The roadway reopened late this afternoon.
Missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls were on the minds of Thunder Bay residents last night as the city police force hosted its 6th annual Tree of Hope ceremony. The project honors the thousands of missing and murdered Indigenous women across Canada, with each red light bulb representing a different person. Charlene Bordeaux started the project back in 2019. Now, 5 years later, more than 30 police services take part. The long-term plan is to take the project to Ottawa, across the country, and eventually over the border.
Of this event is that we're continuing to talk about the violence. That's the first step of addressing violence, is breaking that silence. And so that's why it's important, like events like this are happening, as well as with our partners, because we need to recognize that this is not just an Indigenous issue. This isn't everybody's issue. And in particular, being able to address this issue here as systems and as partners, to be able to talk about it, to look at how we can do better as a community.
What we're hoping to do is bring it to Parliament Hill, bring it to Ottawa. And once we do that, I would like to light trees from coast to coast to coast. And afterwards, if I can accomplish that, I would like to go into the United States.
The Tree of Hope project is meant to offer support and closure for grieving families.
Thunder Bay and Area Victim Services has a new location that will help better support its clients. A ribbon-cutting ceremony was held today at the new office at 400 Balmoral Street. The service provides emotional support and assistance for people victimized by crime or tragic circumstances. Executive Director Penny Radford says the centralized location is better suited for their clients.
We're closer to the women's shelters, we're closer to the police station, and we're closer to the OPP, and like we're in a place where very accessible to people, and people can come and just come in and see us, come visit us, come learn about us. And being right next to a coffee shop, we've had many people stop in and ask who we are, what we do.
Victim Services has always played a very important part in that. So just the referrals that we can make and having those people being taken care of by people who are trained, volunteers who are trained, and making sure that they're feeling comfortable about where they are as they go through the process, and really have an understanding of what it's all about.
The service provides support following assaults, arsons, intimate partner violence, and much more.
Local Catholic elementary teachers launched their 18th annual Coats for Kids drive today at Victoriaville. The annual Coat Drive is organized with the Thunder Bay Catholic District School Board and the Catholic Principals Council of Thunder Bay. In total, they collected over 1,500 coats and other winter gear for kids and adults, and they're now being distributed to families in need. Retired teacher and local volunteer Marianne Jolino says they'd like to collect even more next year.
So it's an opportunity to donate, and that always feels good. It's simple, it's not complicated. You're just helping somebody else, and here's a venue to do it, The kids, the families are always pretty grateful. It's humbling, right? Because we all have a choice, right? When you have the means, you have choice. So we hope to provide some choice. So the more people donate, the more choice people have. It makes them feel good. It just boosts. Like, how could it not be good to be warm, right? And that's just the goal. It's a long winter, and kids grow in and out of stuff, and so anybody's welcome. Anybody who needs a coat can come.
Coats are available for pickup every day this week at Victoriaville from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. through Friday and 11 to noon on Saturday. And people can donate there as well, or even do a coat swap until Friday.
A teacher at St. Ignatius High School is sporting a new haircut today as part of a fundraiser to support the school's Gender and Sexuality Alliance. The GSA event, called Chop It Like It's Hot, helped kick off Bullying Prevention Week at the school. Justin Ball teaches religious education and theology, but also helps run the GSA. He agreed to go under the scissors to make the fundraiser something the students won't soon forget. The goal was to raise $1,200 to support the GSA and the other 10% group. The class that raised the most money got to decide on their teacher's new hairstyle. Ball says he's happy with how it turned out and with the message that he and the GSA are putting forward.
We are trying to bring awareness to inclusion in the school and even in the city, trying to maybe redefine a little bit what Catholic inclusion looks like. I hope it turns into a message of hope and change.
So far, the school raised $750 and will be having other events to continue fundraising throughout the week.